Got him. It's a keeper. There. It is. Yeah. Alright, I'm hanging out in the front timber. Right, horses love to roll in the dirt. They're a little hang out in the shade here. Today, instead of going on the river right now, good morning to the world. No shortage of knowledge coming in. A lot coming in, it's non-stop. And I got a few great tidbits I'm going to share with you guys today. Keep the wheels spinning between your ears. I wrote down a couple notes I was thinking about to myself lately, to get everybody thinking. I want a quick note too, I forgot to tell you yesterday, I found some, when I crossed the river yesterday to get my trail cameras, I found blatant prints. Blatant to my eyes, but not blatant to a camera, because the sun was brighter than hell and it was all in gravel on a little bit of an island out in the middle of the river, where the river has gone low and exposed the gravel. And how it caught my eye, because there's obviously human prints around there from people swimming and stuff, and they launch from there to go tubing all the way down the river system. I look down, and I'm like, oh wow. And there's a big, huge slough off, a little bit of a dip in the gravel, and a big print had sloughed down, pushed down, and it pushed down probably 8 inches. And I tried to push it down, and it went about 2. No big deal. I know these beings go through there without a doubt in my mind. It's just the way it is, right? It is what it is. And then I paced it as 2 paces. My paces to the next print in the gravel. Gravel's all about roughly that big and bigger, okay? Compacted. It's riverbed. And then the next print, you could definitely see the toes, especially the big toe. And then and there's arced right in the middle of the print like that, like real fairly steep. And it was probably, I don't know, I think it was around 3 inches longer than my barefoot. And then it was probably had another, I don't know, 2 inches in width, square down, like a big square wide one. Hold on one sec. Sorry. So anyways, I tried to videotape them, and the frickin' battery in this camera is loose because it broke off from the goats knocking over the tripod first day I got it, and I'm just not in the mood. For me, it was just, I can't, it just make me sick to go spend $1,600–1,800 bucks on another camera. And I'm struggling to make this one at least get something out of this camera, right? And I usually have a piece of tape I got to wrap around the battery to get onto the camera to keep it steady. I didn't have the tape on. Wore it out. And I was videotaping the prints, and then when I got home, I realized I didn't even make it halfway through that clip. The battery rattled and shut off while I was videotaping. Trying to videotape the prints for you, but whatever, it is what it is. I don't really give a shit about footprints. I don't care. I guess that's just a side note to let you know. I did find prints, and just 20 yards to the right is where the dead salmon normally pool up in the bottom of that pool, and they're all gone. And I did find bears. On the back of the pool, I found bears on the trail camera. And there's probably, by the looks of it, maybe half a dozen different bears have been cruising through there. Just, like I said, something either weird's going on, or it's just the weird luck of the draw. You know how you can play cards, play blackjack, and you just keep busting for about 12 times in a row, nothing you can do about it. It's just the draw of the cards. And the big old red one's still alive, and there's a cripple with his back legs stiffened right up. He's still alive. But they're not stopping and feeding. There's nothing for him to eat there. I haven't seen one with anything in his mouth. There's nothing. So they're just traveling through. Searching. What else? Another thing I was going to mention to all you was, you know, as we keep on going and I look into these topics, look into more, and obviously I'm always short of time. I want to encourage every one of you out there to make sure that you do what you love to do in this lifetime, and don't just stay obsessed with one topic or one... What am I trying to say? I just want to make sure that everybody out there is, aside from learning as much as they can, like I'm trying to do, and I bite off too much all the time because I want to do everything. And I make sure that I do what I love to do all the time. Is it in excess? Some people might think so, but I don't think that we're alive to call doing what we love to do often in excess. I don't think that's correct, but... Anyway, I want to make sure that I can encourage as many people as I can to make sure that you do what you love to do and never quit doing it no matter what. And that's also a big part of why I'm doing this on this channel now, is to make sure that my people who are passionate about the true outdoors, true nature, and have had one of these realities slap them in the face, that one of my big motivators here is to make sure that you know you're not alone, and to encourage you to do it anyway. And that's probably why I insist on going to all these places, which I normally do anyway, but videotape from there to show all you people and encourage those people to keep doing it. Because I'm doing it, I'm still here. Use the common sense and pick up on the intuition. Pick up on your intuition, exercise it. Use it to keep you alive, use it to make your life better, and use it for you to make decisions in life. Okay, that's another thing, is to encourage people to use their intuition, their gut feelings, their sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, and get in tune with that. It helps you greatly. So, on that note, if I could, I would ask every single person listening to this video to please just do a quick little comment in the comment section below and tell me what you love to do. Tell me what you love to do. I don't give a shit what it is, but I just want to be sure that I can encourage all of you to do what you love to do. And make sure you have time for that. And don't waste time, okay? You don't want to be laying there and this runs over and wishing, oh my God, I wish I did this more, I wish I did that more. I want you to do it. I want to try to encourage everybody to do it right now, and do it lots. So, on that note, I promise I will read all of the comments under this video tonight, probably, maybe. And I just want to see that everybody has something they love to do. A positive. This is a positive, all right? This is an encouraging positive. Send me a quick message underneath this video and tell me what you love to do in this world. What makes you smile? What gives you adrenaline or goosebumps, and you just can't wait to do it every time you do it. All right? Tell me what you love to do. And maybe possibly by me encouraging people to do that, it'll encourage everybody to think who might not be doing what they love to do. Might reminisce or remember what it is they love to do, and they're going to start doing it. Maybe that'll help people get kicked in gear and do what they love to do more, starting today or tomorrow, okay? Those were things. It's funny, I had something shared with me today that made me sick to my stomach. Another quick share before we get on to this. And Don't say anything, but guess what? It's the start of this one. And I heard recently about somebody doing something very bad to someone who's innocent, and it's a secret. And I instantly went into ferocious growl mode because I do not understand that characteristic that's been possibly installed in every one of us. But there's a real bad flaw that we have, and that is that we help bad people hide. And I've been guilty of it, and I don't know why. I don't know why it is that it is such a common characteristic, but that has been, I think, installed in us, is to stay silent when you hear about somebody doing something really bad. Oh, don't say anything. Hey, everybody, guess what? I just heard about this guy down the road that's doing such and such to this kid or that wife or whatever. Isn't that crazy? And everybody go, oh my God, what a dick. But they don't say anything. Makes me angry. I got no problem saying anything. If I run into a son of a bitch in the grocery store at the till, I let him have it from one till over. Publicly. I've done it before. I don't give a shit. You're bad, you're evil, you're hurting someone, and I find out about it, people are going to find out. Preferably from me to you personally. I'm going to let you know or do something about it. And why I feel strongly about that, and that's a message I want to pass on, is because I had an absolute evil, dark person come into my life as a young boy. I had no choice about it. Basically, I lost my family due to that. And I was guilty of keeping my mouth shut. And I don't know why. I don't know why. And then I grew to learn that, yes, we are supposed to fight. Somebody is supposed to fight. And no, we're not supposed to walk away. And no, we're not supposed to keep our mouth shut and walk away. Somebody's got to fight. Somebody has to say something. Somebody's got to protect the weak, especially the children and the women. If you're a man the F up and do something and say something and quit helping bad people hide. This also has something to do, I feel, is how, excuse me, how and why there are so many evil people in the world today doing dirty, filthy shit that affects all of us. And I bet it all started out with somebody knowing they were bad, didn't say anything. Okay? There's my motivational shit for today. After 2 coffees and having a couple topics dropped on me first thing this morning. Somebody has to fight. Somebody has to fight. Fighting is good at times. Okay? Quit teaching your children to turn the cheek and walk away. Quit it. Especially you men out there. You man the F up. You teach your boys that they are to protect the women and the children at all costs. Somebody has to fight. All right? Now, let's get on with it. Okay, I'm gonna start off with something juicy for you guys. I'm gonna share a bit of a exchange I've had with our favorite scientists in the whole world. A little tidbit. As we get the entire meal deal created to drop on all of you. I've got every background sound you can imagine. I've got the new rooster in charge cackling, got a plane over top, a pickup going by, a chainsaw in the background, and another plane off to my left. Isn't it great? He's probably going to come right over top of me. Hold on a second. It's going to drive me nuts. All right. I can't get out of that plane sound. It's one of those, sounds like one of those little kit planes, those loud, annoying, slow-moving ones. Somebody's flying around over here. It's like, fly away already. Don't do little donuts over top of the frickin' farm. Oh my God. I can't stand civilization. It drives me bonkers for the noise. I guess I just spent too much time in the wilds, man. And I'm oversensitive to it. So here we go. I'll try not to stop again. I'll try to be a little more patient. This is from our favorite scientist, Superhero. In our previous email, I was talking about us having a phone conversation. We have an 8-hour difference in time zone. His reply: Hey Steve, you do whatever and whenever you want. I'd love to blow up the entire shit show that is our governments and their total and absolute adherence to secrecy and everything. The fact is, they lie continually, no matter the subject, whether that subject is the UFO situation, cryptids, and or so many other things. As you know, when I originally contacted you, telling you we see these things regularly in connection with both nuclear power stations and, more importantly, nuclear weaponry sites. Anyone doing my line of work anywhere in the world can give you multiple instances of seeing these things on a regular basis. Why on earth does it have to be kept a national security subject? And, as with UFOs, a complete denial of existence. And even worse, putting people under penalty of death. Right? So, quick reminder to anybody who hasn't seen that, I've had a small handful of people directly involved with nuclear energy, whether it be the power plants or military sites, that have, and they might have been connected professionally over time and during their careers, but they weren't connected at the time of emailing me. I had one of them who was so freaked out about seeing one of these things inside the security perimeter, looking up at the CCTV screen, monitor camera at him. He was freaked out and he wrote in to us, and he used his full name and everything. And emailed back to him and asked him if he had any colleagues or contacts that wanted to contact us in confidence to share more. Didn't hear from him again. But I've had other solid individuals, professionals, scientists who contact me on a different email platform, and they have told me the exact same thing, that these beings are at nuclear power plants and military sites continuously. And our superhero scientist friend right here has other colleagues who have seen these things over 50 times each. Okay? And that is what he's stating is why. When so many people have seen this shit, why is it kept a national secret, and why are scientists threatened with death if they speak the truth to the people? Right? It's frustrating, isn't it? No, I'm not scared. Whatever I get, I'm sharing with you guys. Now, moving on to the tidbit. We are currently at the outset of the Great Reset across the Western world, using reasons like climate change, overuse of nitrates, etc., as the reasons. Absolute bullshit. Yet, look at India, China, Russia, and the Middle East countries. They are all totally ignoring the propaganda. The amount of sheeple in the G20 countries that they've convinced an inert gas like CO2, one of the building blocks of life, is going to cause a disaster of epic proportions is quite incredible. These dummies are doing the job of their betters for them, not me for sure. Anyway, rant over. I'll just carry on giving you what I have had from our contact. And as always, use what you want and discard what you don't need. I spend a lot of time quizzing him on varying aspects of the beings we are interested in. So here's another part of the conversation. Here we go. And this is another page. I proofread this part, so some of this I just might leave out, you never know, but I have to leave out to protect the identity of our contact who is sharing all this shit with us. And keep in mind, these men are at the age in life and level of intelligence that they know the people who control the information flow to us are evil, filthy, dirty pricks. And they're both at the age and level of intelligence, which that's my term. They've had enough. They have no respect for them, and they have agreed, yeah, it's time to share with the people what we know. And his other contact thoroughly looked into me first, and I saw the email from him to our superhero scientist where he said that, yes, Steve is obviously not a researcher, he's a searcher. And that's probably why this channel is the place they've chosen to do this. We're all searchers, right? Sorry, just want to make sure everybody's up to speed with what's going on. Now, we'll title me and him. We'll use me and him in their conversation. So me, would I be correct in saying, given your research into the forest people and the dog head variant, that you are the foremost expert on these particular cryptids? Him, no, not by any stretch of the imagination would I consider that. I've barely scratched the surface on these beings. I've observed them closely. I've analyzed their makeup. I've questioned and learned much from others, but most of what I know is theoretical, observation and opinion. Knowing what they are made from means nothing. In truth, the reason that they are here on planet Earth and exist in relative peace is the major question, and that knowledge is known in full to only a few people in the highest level of governments. When I say governments, I'm not talking about people elected to government. Not even a president is privy to this information. That extends to so many subjects which are classified higher than top secret. top people, like a president, for instance, are transitory. They stay at the they stay at the job for 4 to 8 years maximum. They can't be trusted with information that is held at a higher level of secrecy. Why such secrecy? It's almost a disease with them. Never forget the expressions. Conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorists was a construction of security services as a way of labeling truth seekers crazy, mad and bad. It continues to work wonderfully well today. So, are these beings what is termed paranormal? You mentioned that, and magic and ability, so what are they? And then a note for me, Steve, sorry, I just realized I've jumped ahead a mile. It's out of order on my transcript and notes. I'll send this anyway, but we'll follow up in a few days. All the best. All right, so there you go, you guys. So again, I'll explain exactly what's going on is, who knows what page he's at now. He was it 2 days ago, he's at page 25 out of what he thinks may be 300 or 350 pages. This is going to be delivered to us, all right? There you go. There's that little tidbit. Take from what you will, or leave it, okay? Take from it what you will or leave it. And that goes with every single email I've ever shared. There's a lot of people that'll blow a gasket about what somebody shared and call them a liar or bullshit or what a waste of time, and they'll actually knee-jerk and go out of the way to expend energy, either possibly comment it or email me about that. And those individuals I consider quite weak between the ears. They have a weakness. They can't control their emotions. They got to think rationally. They got to understand. I'm going to urge you people who complain that you need to understand that this lifetime, this ride is yours. It's yours. Okay? Very, very few people are going to give a shit about your ride. They're just not. And your puzzle that you're trying to gather pieces for is your puzzle. And you're the only one that counts when it comes to that puzzle. So, lashing out at other people's journeys or puzzles is an absolute waste of time. And all it really does, is it screams to the world that you are emotionally weak. That's it, nothing more. It doesn't matter what you have to say when you're lashing out at somebody's story or lashing out at somebody's theory. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Okay? So try to concentrate on your ride and the knowledge that you need. And then take from it what you will or leave it. And continue on your ride, try to make you better, and fill in that puzzle piece. Okay? Because if you're going to lash out, imagine turning on public mainstream news and watching that. You're going to be screaming like Archie Bunker from his Lazy Boy nonstop all day, and you can drive yourself into the insane asylum. Right? Take from it what you will, you guys, or leave it. But continue on your ride and fill in your puzzle. And then if you possibly feel generous later on, and you feel your puzzle's been filled and you want to share it, share it. That's what I'm doing. All right? Have you guys ever seen me blow a gasket on what somebody's emailing in for the theory? Never. Why not? Right? All right, who's next? Let's get some voices heard. Okay, another thing. I was looking at Edgar's note from the other day when he sent that photo, that drawing of that being that is a likeness. They didn't say this is what they're not saying this is what they are, this is what modern human looks like. They said that photo I shared yesterday was similar. This is roughly the best depiction of what they could find online to show what is similar, what they guess would be. Okay? So for people that emailed me about that picture and how it's not what they saw, it's not what anyone saw. It's just used an example of what similarity of what a lot of people have seen, including the scientists, okay? And what they're guessing what those beings looked like back in the day. All right, let's get on with hearing some voices here, all right? Were they too young to hunt? It's the title of this one. I'm 55. It was late in the fall. I was bored and decided to go fishing. I was 15 years old. Grabbed my rod, my tackle box, and started down the trail to a small pond. At about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and a quarter mile down the trail, I came across one footprint, only one. I thought it was odd that someone this time of year would be walking barefoot. I put my boot in the middle of the footprint, and it was bigger than my boot. At that time, my shoe size was 10.5. I continued down the trail to the pond, and just before the pond, the bushes got thick on both sides of the trail. It opened to a clearing alongside the pond. After walking through the bushes to the clearing, to my right was a deer, a small doe about 125 pounds. To my right, no more than 6 feet away. It looked at me and I looked at it. Strangely, it wasn't scared of me. It just kept staring in the direction I was headed. Looking in that direction, then looking back at me, then looking back in that direction. I looked to see what it was looking at, but there was nothing. She looked at me and turned to the thick bushes behind her and slowly walked into them. Then took off quickly like a shot. I walked around the pond, over an old tunnel to a beachy area on the other side to fish, and made about 2 casts with a spinner. Then a large rock hit the water. Above the path that I took to the pond was an old trolley trail that went over the tunnel. The hill was covered in trees and you could barely see the old trail. I thought it was just some kids messing around, so I yelled up, "Cut the shit, I'm trying to fish." That's when all hell broke loose. At about 15 to 20 large rocks all started to hit the water at the same time, and this kept occurring for several seconds, and I mean absurdly large rocks, about 15 to 20 pounds each. When one hit the beach about 10 feet away from where I was standing, I turned and grabbed my tackle box and ran. I didn't even reel the pole in all the way. I just ran a quarter of a mile as quick as I could and found a main road and walked home. 2 weeks before that, I was walking home from a friend's house and used the same area as a shortcut to go through. I was on the lower path when I could hear 2 deep voices. It sounded like 2 men talking and was coming from the upper path. This was 10:30 at night, and I could not make out a certain language or what they were saying, but both voices were very deep. I got a feeling of dread, like I was trespassing, and felt very threatened. Too scared to look, I just stared 3 feet in front of me at the trail until I got to a large opening in the trail. It led to an open field, about 20 acres of land, that my backyard butted up against. That's when the feeling and the voices stopped. Then I ran out of there as fast as I could, running straight for home. I never went back to that property, and as a young boy, I was going there to go fishing and ride dirt bikes since I was 8. About 2 years later, I was walking down a road through the woods that cut through the back side of that property. It was a warm July night, and about 9 o'clock at night, I heard large tree limbs snap and hit the ground alongside a stream that led to the pond where all that occurred. There was a slight breeze blowing that night, maybe 1 or 2 miles per hour. I told myself it must have been the wind. But then in the same spot, a 20-foot tree started to shake and hit the ground. This tree was alive, fully grown with green leaves, and wasn't old timber. It backed up the road 100 yards till I couldn't see the area anymore. Oh, sorry. I backed up. There's a few typos. I backed up the road 100 yards till I couldn't see the area anymore. In a moment of horror, I turned and ran like hell until I got home. I've never been back to that area or pond ever again. But to a different subject, my wife and son always say I have no filter between my brain and my mouth. Same. I do have a filter, I just choose not to use it. I'm sick of society turning people into pussies, and I will look you in the eye and tell you how I'm feeling, whether you like it or not. Feel free to use my name, Vincent Diario. Vincent, keep up the good work. Vincent, welcome to the club, my man. Keep looking people in the eye and telling them what's what, and give them a chance to tell you back too, of course. Yeah. Another member of the club in no return getting boulders thrown at him. The boulder thing kind of sucks, but at least we're not hearing about anybody getting squashed by a boulder, right? I guess if somebody did get squashed, we wouldn't hear from them, but if somebody got squashed by a boulder on the side of a lake and left there, it wouldn't take much to figure out what went down, but I guess the details would probably be kept from the public, right? Somebody's on the side of a pond, dead, squished from a boulder on flat ground. Yeah, the authorities probably, the so-called authorities probably wouldn't want you knowing about that, would they? Not the details. I don't think I've had weird things tossed at me. You guys have seen the things tossed at me. I don't know what they were. I think it might have been a pine cone down at the river that one time. It bounced off of the quad, came straight 90 degrees from my right, from the bushes. And that other time up on the mountain back here, and it was kind of stormy out, but not enough to do it. I got kind of freaked out during that time. And then I don't know what it was. I think a few things got thrown behind me, and then one thing finally got thrown near enough for me to see it, and that's when I left. But Yeah, I haven't had the boulder thing done to me yet. I don't know if they're going to, I don't know if that will happen to me or not. I don't know. It seems like they have a big tolerance for me where I go. I don't know, it's because of what I give off to them when I speak out loud, saying just leave me alone. If that's what's working, or possibly do they know what I'm doing, and maybe that's a good thing. I haven't a freaking clue. Don't know, but there seems to be a big tolerance for me anyway. But anyway, man, go there again. Just, if you know, I'd go there again, obviously. Go there again. Feel it out. Go with your gut instincts. See if you can feel that pressure there still. Be interesting, maybe, or not. Okay, here we go. This one's titled Stranded Young One. Hi, Steve. Use my name, Nancy M. I'm 75-year-old female and always believed in Sasquatch. My husband and I were traveling on a dirt road off Highway number 6 about 5 kilometers south of Lundar, Manitoba. I believe this occurred in the spring of 2018. The road curved north of the lakeshore, but just before we got to the curve, my husband came to an abrupt stop. There were about 10 head of cattle grazing on the side of the road beside us, but they were just standing still, not making a sound. My husband saw what looked like a lump of hay in the middle of the road ahead of us about 100 feet, but it looked out of place. He slowly moved the truck up a little closer and came to a stop again. He asked me if I see what he sees. I immediately said yes. To me, it looked like a Neanderthal-like creature sitting on its haunches in the middle of the road. And it was covered with fairly long hair, which was blowing in the wind, the color of dried hay, sandy brown. It began to stand up and appeared to be about 8 to 9 feet tall with very long arms and legs, a bit shorter, but heavily muscled, especially at the thighs. As it turned to look at us, I could sense it was a young one, and I actually began to feel fear. But the fear was not from me. Don't ask me how I know this. But the fear was coming from that creature. I sensed that it was lost and wanted to find its way home. It took 2 steps to the south of us, across the ditch, and just disappeared. We drove up to where it had been sitting, but I could not find any tracks or any sign that it had been there at all. We stopped in at a friend's place along the way, and when we told him what we had seen, he told us to keep that information to ourselves. Bad advice. I'm done with that advice. I've had it up to the nuts with people being scared. Sorry. I'll carry on with the story. He proceeded to tell us that 2 years before, a farmer shot one of those things, and he took his tractor and buried it somewhere on his property. Not 2 days later, the military was at his door wanting to know if he saw any type of strange bears around. The man denied he knew anything and told them they were trespassing and to leave his property. Holy shit. My husband died in 2019, but before he passed, we often talked to each other about our experience. I'm sorry for your loss. I told some friends about my experience and was told by one person that I am an empath and could feel the fear in the young Sasquatch. I have no idea if this is the case or not, but I do know I did not fear for my life at all when I saw it. Thank you for sharing my story. Wow. So let me go back up and so we stopped at a friend's place along the way. All right, so you know where that place is. I wonder if those people who are connected with the shooting would possibly, I wonder how you could knee-jerk somebody to being brave. I don't know. I try all the time, trust me. I'm working on people in my circle non-stop. All I do is encourage people to try to be brave, take no shit, speak the truth, and do not fear death. But I wonder how hard it would be to contact that person who's involved in the shooting, give them the courage to share the story and dig up that being and share it with the world. Or did the military go in there in the cover of darkness and take it away themselves anyway? And how did the military know? How did the military know? Is there possibly the telepathy thing? Is it going back and forth between these beings and a handful of human beings? Or human-like beings that are among us? Possibly. Maybe. Right? Just throwing it out there. How would those pricks know to come to that house right away? I'll guarantee you, when that rooster got shot the other day, nobody was alarmed and came to the property to find out if we shot anything on the property. Right? Why would it only be if one of those beings was dusted on your private property that all of a sudden the government sends their henchmen to come and deal with it? And they know that went down. It's really bizarre. All right, here we go. Here's another one. This is titled, I hope I've read it before, Multiple Family Encounters with Sasquatch. Hi, Steve. Hope I'm sending this to the correct email address. I came across your YouTube videos when trying to find information that could explain my family's experiences and decided to share with you because I believe you are doing a great job of getting the information out there. Please don't use my name if you decide to use this email, but feel free to contact me with any questions if you like. It's not that I'm afraid of ridicule, but I'm very aware of the many claims of government intervention when these creatures are encountered and do not wish harm on him or them, as I would like to have more encounters myself. Can't wrap my thoughts around the cover-up. I'm confident they're in our area. We live in Central Florida, in the Green Swamp area, and I, wife and children included, live approximately 3 miles as the crow flies from my family farm. My parents own a farm that I live on, a few acres myself. In this area, there are thousands of acres of undeveloped deep woods and heavy swamps, despite this country being one of the fastest growing in the state, which I think has attributed to more frequent encounters in the past 5 to 7 years. They are being pushed like the wildlife by development. This includes wildlife management areas from 4,000 to 30,000 plus acres, and thousands of acres of privately owned property. Florida, you know what, side note, I would be curious, I haven't a clue, I haven't looked into it, but I would be curious as to how much nuclear energy or possibly military sites are in the state of Florida. I'd be curious to know that, because Florida is just, you can almost count on Florida. If you had 5 emails a day, every single day, you can count on at least 1 or 2 being from Florida. Don't you think? The amount of shit going on in that state is incredible when it comes to these beings and more. So, I'm curious to know about the nuclear sites there. A couple of years ago, my father was working out of town and mother was staying alone. She called me around 9:30 at night to say she had been to town and while pulling up to the gate of the property, had seen a bipedal, 7 to 8 foot tall creature standing on the side of the road. Very long hair resembling the looks of a military-style ghillie suit. A friend of mine said that's exactly what he thought he saw in Pemberton. A charcoal gray one, thought it was a guy in a ghillie suit. Not being able to comprehend what she was looking at, she slowly drove past it. Once it had registered in her mind what she had seen, she turned around to point the car lights at it again with camera phone in hand, and the creature was gone. She was absolutely terrified and asked that I come check the farm. I quickly armed myself with a .45 ACP and went to the farm thinking that someone had been trying to steal something and she had seen them leaving, totally discounting the possibility of a creature that sounded like a Sasquatch. I found nothing on the property, and it had been raining heavily, so I had no prints. I called my mother and convinced her that she had made a mistake. My mom is a doctor and made me swear not to tell anyone for fear of backlash in the community or losing her license due to insanity. Sorry, Mom. 1 week later, she called again around 2 a.m. She said that both of her dogs woke her whimpering by her side. These dogs are both guard dogs over the farm. Hold on, I got something at my legs here. I guess it heard my voice out front and had to come and check shit out. These dogs are both guard dogs over the farm. One is a 120-pound bulldog and the other a 70-pound blackmouth cur, both very aggressive. She then heard a noise at the back door as if someone was trying to get in. When she got out of the bed and turned the lights outside on, she saw the creature moving quickly into the dark, out of the range of the light. This time I was already on alert for her safety, so I quickly armed myself with my AR-15 and raced to her house confident to find a thief on the property. Now keep in mind it only takes a few minutes at high speed to get there, and there is only one way in and out of the property. The house is a half a mile from the paved road with no vehicle access, except through a heavy gate with a code to enter, so for someone to leave would take time. And everyone in our area owns guns and will protect their property. For a thief, it makes no sense. I find nothing on the property. However, this time when I approached the back door, I immediately noticed that the door handle, which was round, a metal knob, looked as though it had been squeezed and crushed. Oh, this sounds familiar. You might have read this, or this has been happening more than once. It looked like as if I were to crush a soda can in one hand without any evidence of tools being used to accomplish this. Knowing that a man could not do this, and not being able to explain it, I convinced my mother to stay the night at my house till Dad returned. She gladly complied. When my father returned and heard the story, he had an extensive camera system with infrared installed around the perimeter of the house. We agreed to not talk to anyone outside for We agreed to not talk to anyone outside our immediate families about the experiences. 1 month later, a worker of the farm came to my dad in the middle of the day claiming that while in the back of the property, next to the woods, he saw something large, dark, and taller than the plants in the farm moving rapidly out of the farm and into the woods. He could only see what he claimed to be shoulders and a head above the plants, and the plants were 6 feet tall at this time of year. He showed my mother the area and swore that he had seen something unexplainable, but my father told the worker that he must be mistaken, so as to not spook him, but quickly called me and told me as soon as the worker had left. We installed multiple game cams on the property perimeter and searched the area frequently for prints. Nothing showed up except for long dark hair that was caught on the top strand of the barbed wire fence frequently. I think he was eating the fruit from the farm. Last summer, my parents sold the farm and moved out of town to be closer to my younger brother and his family, but the doorknob remained crushed until they sold. Last December 2021 at 2:28 a.m. at my house, I was woken up from the dead sleep to a very loud, bellowing, moaning howl right at my back door. It happened 3 times in a row. I'd fallen asleep on the couch that night and I thought I'd been dreaming when my wife exploded out of our bedroom and yelled at me, "Get up now! Something's at the back door. Where are the kids?" It was at this point I knew I had actually heard something right at my back door. A horrible sinking feeling came over me and my hair stood up. She ran for the kids and I ran for a gun and a flashlight. I knew that the noise I had heard could not be made from a man and was not made from any animal I know of in my area that I'd encountered during my time outdoors. I'm 40 years old, good physical shape. I've been well known for not being afraid of anything. I've had a reputation for fearlessness and aggressiveness on the football field and the wrestling mats and boxing ring in high school. I literally ran into the darkness before on several occasions when I thought someone was trying to steal from my barn while my wife locks the doors behind me. I'm an avid outdoorsman who has spent many days alone hunting in the woods, in day or nighttime. I'm comfortable there. But that night, I can honestly say I was actually afraid to shine the lights on what waited outside for me. To even pull the blinds back in the sliding glass doors back was a struggle. Whatever was there had left, at least out of sight from the house before I could see it. Okay, we've read this one, but whatever. We're going to keep reading. There's thousands of new people here. I have cameras around the house with infrared on them also, so we checked them only to discover that one of the kids had messed with the recording system the evening before and had unplugged it from the wall to plug in a cell charger. No cameras from approximately 6 p.m. till then. My wife and I agreed not to tell the kids so that we wouldn't scare them, and still did not talk about it around them. But did not let them go outside at night by themselves anymore. We're pretty far in the country, and they are country kids that like being outside at any time. But it's pretty dark outside at night where we live, and even a large creature could go undetected easily. This is hard for boys 9, 10, 12, and 16 years old to understand. The next day after work, I left early to inspect the area in daylight. When I got home, my son, who had slept through the event, met me at the driveway. He took me to an area at the edge of the woods where he had set a trap for raccoons. They're eating our chickens. The steel cage trap had been literally peeled open from the back. I don't know of any animal in our area that could do this. We don't have bears. My son explained to me that the day before he had caught an opossum in the trap, and had forgot to let him out in the afternoon. All that remained was blood in the cage. I investigated the area, and sure enough, in a sandy area just yards away from the trap, 2 large indentations / footprints approximately 5 feet apart in stride, both approximately 15 to 17 inches long and 6 inches wide. The toes were not very distinguishable because of the heavy leaf covering, but they were there. After more research and thoughts on the subject, I am led to believe that they can see / sense infrared light to an extent to know to avoid it. Yes, they can. That's been confirmed from the military to us. This would be true in our situation, since after my father installed them, no more action around this house. The only time my cameras have been off in the years was that night. They run 24/7. This would also explain many camera phenomena from people searching. It also seems as though there are obvious subspecies of the beings. It seems some are more intelligent than others. I agree. I totally agree with that. Or possibly completely different species. For sure. Ours locally are all reported to be slightly smaller and longer hair, and no accounts locally of orbs or telepathy, at least not admitted accounts. I also do not think I would shoot them anymore unless they became aggressive to the point of compromising our safety. I hope this doesn't offend anyone, because I know some have had friendship experiences, but our local population does not seem to operate in the same manner that others have shared in their stories with you. A tranquilizer like we used to use on cattle at the farm and a tracker is the way to do it, I think. Some legitimate research, not BSRO crap. Don't know if this is even possible if these creatures are advanced. Maybe this train of thought is shallow, but the ones here seem to have more of a primal personality, at least in our experiences. Hoping they'll prove me wrong, though. I'm tempted often, though, to turn off the cameras and stay up all night to have another experience. Ready with my GoPro and flashlight. And gun, of course. I don't, however, because I'm not sure if we have angered him / her by trapping animals. Not sure on this one, and if the cameras are keeping him and her away, good. Anyway, sorry the email is so long, but it is good to tell someone other than just immediate family. Someone that can get this out there in a big way. By the way, the sound from your video, Northeast Texas sound caught on camera, although not quite as deep and a little too scratchy, sounded close enough to push me into sharing. Oh wow. Thanks for all you do. Keep it up. Okay, man, thank you. Absolutely appreciate you. And yeah, it's tough for me with the not telling the kids thing, especially if they live right there. And this shit's been going on. Because you know my stance on sharing with people, right? It's better to be honest, I think. I'll get my neighbor fired up his tractor. I'm gonna move out of here. I don't think he's gonna shut it down in a minute. So yeah, I don't know, man. If you could, I'm sure you're still listening. Try to find a way to be honest with your kids, all right? There's got to be a way. I guess just blatantly throwing them to this channel might be a little much. I'll tell you what, though. It is time that we all start being honest with each other no matter what. I don't know why it has been installed in us to keep things secret that shouldn't be secret. I really don't know why. But I'm trying to counterattack it myself as much as I can. Anyways, I got to get going. I got shit to do. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to commit to the month of August for guiding on the ocean. I've just been doing a small handful, and I haven't really made it available to the public. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit to guiding for the month of August on the ocean for salmon and halibut. And if you want to go with me, you can email bookit@howtohunt.com. Okay? And only fishing inquiries will be replied to. If you send a story or a topic of anything else to that email, it'll be ignored and deleted. Okay? We have emails for your other concerns. Now let me say that one more time. This email is only for booking fishing trips, and that's it. I don't care what the email title is or the topic. If it's anything but inquiring about fishing charters, it will be ignored and deleted, okay? For obvious reasons. So there you go. I just did it. I'm going to commit to booking up a pile of days in August, and that's it. And then we'll carry on from there. email your experiences or your knowledge in to sharemystory@howtohunt.com, and we'll get to it, and you will be heard. Talk shortly.